All of this is by design. I say this over and over, and I will continue saying it. They are doing this on purpose. They are doing it so they can continue to fund these parasite migrants into our country. And that's the reason why. And by the way, for you guys that are in Europe that are watching this, the same thing's happening over there. The West has a huge problem that we have an infection and we refuse to admit that there's a problem. There is clearly a problem, there is clearly an affliction, and there is also clearly a solution. But
just to be clear, has anything he said so far been wrong or abstract, or could be misstrued or misread as something that could be deemed problematic?
Well, I guess the fact that he called it a virus to that group, I imagine maybe a problem. Okay. Not for me.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything problematic he said so far?
No, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, Asmon's got kind of milquetoast taste sometimes. So it's like, yeah, this is average opinion. Yeah.
Okay.
A solution, but they don't want to talk about that because it might make them feel bad. That has to stop. Like if I knew that I could get these people deported and sent back to fucking Guatemala or Somalia or wherever the fuck they came from, if I knew I could do that, I would take a break from my stream. I'd stream less so I could do that all the time. I would be packing these guys up every day. Oh no, I'd show up at their house with the ICE agents. I'd show up like Ash Ketchum. I say, guess what? Guess what?
There's 10 for Pokemon.
Get your shit. Nah, bring your family too. Let's go, boys. Come on.
Get in the van. To the Me Too, the We Too movement.
Get in the red and blue van. Gotta catch them all. That's right. I would do this, and honestly, I'd make videos about them, like other, and I'm gonna be real. Like I would be so brutal to these people. People would say it's too much. I would be filming them crying, walking out, getting dragged out. I'd put like Pokemon theme music over it. I'd do the whole thing. I hate them.
By the way, great screen caps here, by the way. Does have some gnarly teeth. With that said, so there's his thoughts. He wants to get the immigrants out. That's the general thought.
The illegal immigrants, yes.
Yes. The illegal immigrants. I think that there needs to be a very clear mark of distinction right there. Yes, it's not just the immigrants. That's cool. It's the ones who are here illegally here. Which, any thoughts? Anyone disagree with this thought process on our show at all? And by all means,
no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree completely, and I like the idea of filming them crying and all that other stuff. I like all that too. More of that, message, please. Huh?
They have to go back, and you know why? Because shit's getting rough around the world.
We refuse to admit that there's a problem.
Okay,
no, that's okay. Yeah. I'm like, God, are you talking to me right now?
Yes,
are you fighting me for my opinions for once?
But okay, well, your thoughts.
This is just the average opinion to me. I don't have anything to disagree with, but I'm kind of like, yeah, and
okay.
I don't know. It's like, yeah, there shouldn't be illegal immigrants.
Here's the and, Kay. Which brings us to Kind of Funny. Now, and specifically Andy Cortez of Kind of Funny. Now, look, I've said this before. I've never had an issue with Kind of Funny, right? I've literally had many interactions with Greg Miller. Is he over the top and ridiculous? Yes, it's kind of his character, right? He's a product of a different internet. With that said, I think that he fucked over Colin Moriarty and all that stuff. We all have established all that. But Andy in particular, and I've dealt with Andy when he was back at Rooster Teeth. I've dealt with him personally. I've met him many, many times. I'm sure Andy thinks I'm a giant piece of shit now. With that said, this is what he had to say about this clip. When Asmongold's dad died, it made things worse for everyone because now this dude has no one left to disappoint. No one close to talk sense to him. Just an ugly ass racist cretin talking to other ugly ass racist cretins over here. And that was his thought on this. By the way, I just want to point out that Andy, in his post, immediately locked the replies and made it only people that he followed and followed him could reply. Only some accounts. And here we have a response like this. The pit I get in my stomach when my own freaking relatives see commentary like this and go, yep, he's right over here. It's from Pixel Brave over here. A Roach King calling people parasites is pretty ironic over here. And, then we have this over here. Some of y'all crying about what Andy said. Look at what Trump said. Fuck Trump, fuck Asmongold over here. This is after Robert Mueller's death a few days ago. With all that said, this just goes back to the divide that we see here. And the idea of like, he knew he was going to get fucking ratioed on this immediately. And so now the only way for people to interact with this is through quote tweets. And we see all of the quote tweets here. And Demion coming in. Greg Miller's employee is celebrating Asmongold's father passing away. Gaming journalist, ladies and gentlemen. Smash. Kim says, taking shots at a dude by using his father who passed away is really high class, bro. To which, wouldn't you know it, Andy did check this one out and did actually go in and block him for this. And he said to Smash, he's racist trash, and so is your bitch ass right there. Just getting into the corner and fighting right here. Phoenix, you're not a big fan of Kind of Funny?
No, I am not. No. I have to watch my words very carefully. Yeah.
No, you don't.
No, I do. I do not like them, Craig. I do not like them at all. I especially don't like Greg Miller. I think that is, boy, if you ever wanted like the definition of the fakest fucking human being that has ever existed, a guy that practices smiling in the mirror and laughing all that guy is the most. I have had way more fucking laughter at funerals than anything that piece of shit bag of that gentleman there has ever said. I don't like him. What he did to his to Colin is ridiculous. Basically, just sell your potentially your closest friend ever for how you're viewed socially. Like the whole don't like them, Craig. Don't.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't like that whole crew. I don't like
the whole crew.
The whole crew.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Kay, have you had any interactions with Cortez and or Kind of Funny in the past?
I haven't. I'm sure if I say even a word to them, I'll get instantly blocked because my opinions are way more aggressive than Asmongold or any of the people that he got mad at. So yeah, I mean, no, I think they're all betas and I don't waste my time with them. I laugh at them from afar. They're all cringe to me.
Mitsu?
I wish I could say I had a bad experience with them to get mad at them. I worked with them on the Borderlands show for a little while, and I don't know. It was pleasant to go hang out at their studio. I got to hold a game award, which was really cool, and they're oddly heavy, but they never. Their public persona, everything that they did outside of that, I'm very well aware of it, and I know the feelings that people have, especially what he did with Colin, which wasn't cool. But business dealings aside, they are fine to me. But yeah, I can see, like I said, I can see why a lot of people would be very, very upset with them.
You know, what's funny about Kind of Funny is I legitimately, like I said, I've never had any issues with them at all. Just personally, right? Now, professionally, yeah, there's all sorts of issues right there, but they are the industry. Like when you think of traditional video games journalists, they have become what they said they wanted not to be, which was IGN. Kind of Funny is IGN at this point. They are part of everything that people don't like about the industry. Yeah. And by the way, it does give me incredible happiness to know that we have more viewership on our show on a day-to-day basis than their show. That makes me very happy. I love that. Is it, a little bit of ego stroke? Abso-fucking-lutely. I love it. It's outstanding. So thank you guys very much for your continued viewership on a day-to-day basis. So any closing thoughts on kind of the general thoughts on Andy Cortez, Kind of Funny, and or his thoughts on Asmongold?
It's all just the same loop. Like it's always the same story. This is a group that just knows basically one word, which is racist. Then they know that the hive mind needs to attack that thing. And then they typically block or like, private their quote. That way they don't get attacked. So they like to dish it out and then hide. It is as beta as you can possibly imagine. And I've yet to see really any of them break this mold. They're all just such steaming piles of bags of shit. Each and every one of them.
It reminds me of that old picture from like the old Gamergate days of Anita Sarkeesian caricature, and she's flinging shit over the wall that she thinks she can get away with, and then they're flinging like tons of shit back at her, and she's like, "Oh my god!"
Right.
That's exactly what it's fucking like when somebody locks their replies like that.
Oh, what a shame! What a shame, man. Like it sucks that like these are people that I've legitimately called friends in the past, and that I've reached. To be clear, I've actually reached out to Andy in the past privately and just said, hey man, like, look, we may not agree on things, but I would love to actually have a conversation about things. And guess what? No response.
They don't want to. Like you'll see this a lot on like a great example of like you take like Timcast, which is he's pretty much a centrist, but they can never get any liberals on the show because they're never willing to take any. They know they're going to lose when it comes to an argument. They just know it. They don't know anything because they just read headlines. They only go off of immediate emotion. It's just immediate emotion. No logic, no thinking behind it. Haven't researched anything. I just jump on something. So they're terrible guests. They'll never have that conversation. They know they will lose every time. And then even worse is they'll lose in front of everyone, which makes their hive get angry at them. So it's an only a lose for them. There's no gain. The gain is to keep virtue signaling. That's what gets them clicks. Keep virtue signaling over and over and over to your little tiny little group, and that's it.
What Phoenix said is incredible and completely correct. The thing is that they live in fear of being challenged. They don't want to get embarrassed on the stage of having their viewpoints pushed and to reach any sort of understanding, because then they completely lose their audience who would be mad at them for not being radical enough in their own direction. So that's why they don't go on platforms. There's one side that wants open dialogue, who is not afraid to admit that their viewpoint has changed or they're wrong or see something from the other side. And then there's the other side who just wants to continue to feel socially accepted. And so they're afraid of any sort of opinion that might change that for them. Phoenix, incredibly sad. I agree with you.
It's funny. I watched a couple videos actually this weekend. One was a video about a former climate activist, and the other one was about it was another social issue, right? But the one thing that they said in here, and it very much mirrors what you said, it was they thought a certain way, but they were not allowed to question the narrative. And as soon as they did, they got labeled like something simple, like, well, it had to do with, the two that I watched. The first one was climate. And it's like, well, so we're not all going to die from this. And people are like, fuck you, you've been paid off. Fuck, and they immediately they became the enemy. Like immediately. It's just like, no matter how good you've been to people, as soon as you question, that's it. And I've been on the other side of this. I think most people who watch our show have been on the other side of these things where you go against the narrative, you are outcast. I mean, I just go back to like the previous brand that I launched with the Game Attack, right? Like I fucking taught one of those dudes how to swim in my pool. I was nothing but nice, but I went against the narrative. I didn't post the black square. I think a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And because of that, out the door, And you know what? Far better off because of it.